Check 1, 2.
Go! Curious about real estate? Yes! Then you've come to the right place. Get the knowledge you need. Get over the fear and get started. This is the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show with your host, Michael Quarles.
Hello, everybody. Michael Quarles with the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. And this is podcast 201. First, welcome to Thursday. I want you guys to have an outstanding Thursday. And for those guys out there with a little bit of memory loss, today is February 11th. And there's this day that comes up every year that we call Valentine's Day, and it is in 3 days. And I just want you to know we need to start thinking about our honey bunnies and do something special for them. I know that has nothing to do with real estate, but man, you can buy a lot more houses if everybody in the household's happy. That's all I have to say about that, by the way. Today we have 5 questions sent in by real estate investors, and I'm going to do my best. And I wanted to give a shout out to Natalie. Natalie, do some good stuff for yourself. We have prayers all over the United States coming in for you. Get better, girl, because I absolutely want that dance. Here we go. Question number 1. How do I generate the best call capture plan when I work a full-time job and don't have a budget to get my phone answered for me? I can either answer my phone directly or use a voicemail and get back to them within an hour. What system can I set up? Do you have any suggestions on what I should say on my voicemail to make it as good as it can be? That's a big question. So let's tear it apart. You have a full-time job, congratulations. There's a lot of people that do not have a full-time job, so congratulations on that. Do not get rid of that full-time job until you have at least doubled your income for a 6-month period. So for 6 months, you've made twice as much as you make on a gross perspective at your work. Because I know when you do that, then you can probably continue and survive as a real estate investor. But how do you get your phone answered? I like voicemail. I use a service called RingCentral. The reason I like RingCentral is because I can actually call them and ask them questions if I have a problem with my account. I also like their flexibility on phone numbers. I like their flexibility for the round robin feature, the find me features. I love the flexibility on the notification features. I can have the call sent to my phone via a text or email with the recorded voicemail. I like that feature. I like the reporting feature of it, and I like the price point feature of it. It is naturally it's more expensive than something like Google Voice. However, Google Voice has limitations, extreme limitations. I haven't yet found too many limitations with RingCentral, and they're always increasing their service. And I believe that you should give someone a call back within 10, 15 minutes. An hour seems to be long. But keep in mind, these people are dialing for dollars, calling people that can solve their problem. You know, they're in urgent mode. They've procrastinated their situation. Now it's become urgent. If they can't get a hold of you, they're going to find someone they can get a hold of. So make sure that that person is you. So call them back as fast as you can. Don't use your cell phone to do that. I think RingCentral has an app as well, but I like Skype for calling back people. The reason I like Skype for calling back people is if I'm at my computer, I can record my conversation. I like that ability. Skype to call back someone is like $30 a year. That recorder is a $30 fee. I like the ability to listen back to that call and train myself on how to do it. If I'm on the road and I can't call them back from my computer, I can still use my app that Skype has. I can't record it at that point, but at least I'm not using my cell phone and mixing up my cell phone number with my investment business number. So I like those two features, RingCentral and Skype, for that. Voicemail, we actually have it, and anybody that would like to have it, it's about a 2-minute infomercial. It's very professionally done. It is tells people what we do and how we do it. Anybody that would like it, On this podcast, there'll be a download, so you'll be able to download it and obtain it for free. You're welcome to use it. There's two versions. One is a Spanish tag at the very end. One does not have a Spanish tag. I would always use the one with the Spanish tag and fall forward. But great question. Now, if your question didn't have the word, I don't have a budget to get my phone answered, I'd be explaining to you our joint venture program, which is friggin' awesome. Inside of the joint venture program, we do your marketing, we answer the phone, we screen the calls, we do the follow-up, we contract the property, we clear title, we open up closing, we work with you, inspect the property and all that kind of good stuff. But it's an outstanding program for folks that can't do all of the work and want a professional organization to do the front end. So from the moment we decide what marketing goes out, we send a bucket load of marketing out, the phone rings off the hook, our Alex and Ryan's answer the phone, procure contracts, send that information back to you. You go do inspections on the house and make sure the house is standing and it's something that they think, what they told us it is actually is. Do some research and we together on a joint venture program. So, but I don't know if that's inside of your budget or not. Question number 2, how much marketing must I do to obtain one flip per month? It's not all about marketing. I know I say it's all about marketing, but it's also about lead capture and then ultimately about lead fulfillment. So that's a bigger question than, spend $1,500, spend $1,000. 34 phone calls, 34 opportunities, get you a contract on average. That's what our number is. So again, I'm using TempServe folks that answer the phone. They're not real estate investors. So if I can get a contract every 34 calls, right now that's my average. So should you. So if you just divide that, what does that cost? Now, keep in mind now, getting the contract doesn't mean you make money on it yet. Then you have to make sure that you actually want to buy it, and then you have to take it through closing, and then you have to resell it and all that kind of good stuff. But still, so if we're looking at just the opportunity there, you can do some division there and multiplication. But I'm always a firm believer that it again depends on your ability to answer the phone, your ability to close that call, and then the ability of the call being actually a worthy call that you can actually turn and flip and make some money on. We get all caught up on buying property. We forget we have to sell the thing too. That's where the money comes from.
Thanks for listening. We'll be right back. Are you running out of leads? It's time you tried Yellow Letters at yellowletters.com. Get motivated seller leads through Yellow Letters, postcards, zip letters, typed professional letters, greeting cards, door hangers, and business cards. Yellow Letters is a full-service marketing company created with your success in mind. Get the personal attention you need to get your direct mail campaign started and get in touch at yellowletters.com.
And we are back in 3, 2, 1.
Question number 3. What filters do you put in for criteria when constructing a list on ListSource? Well, that just really depends on what I'm trying to accomplish. If I'm trying to accomplish an out-of-state owner only, so if I want to go to an area where I want to invest in an area and I'm not there, then I need people that aren't there either. So for that criteria, I'm going to go absentee owner, corps and trusts okay, out-of-state owners. And then I'm going to make sure I have a 30% equity base or greater single-family residence, $30,000 of equity or greater. I want to stay at median or just above, a little bit above median. I want to say 4-year ownership. Key component there is I want to invest out of state. So I'm only wanting to talk to people that are out of state because they don't want to see me. Although my Alex and my Ryan system, we can talk to owner occupants too, but I mean, that's because we're trained to do that. And once you decide, well, I can talk to anybody, then you wouldn't necessarily need just those out-of-state absentees. And then you would go in-state absentees as well. And then there's some criteria for your owner occs. And then there's a percentage of those that you try to fill in and work within. Like on my owner occs, I want to try to go more than the 4-year ownership, and I want to do an age filter on them. I like that right now. So I'm doing a 45-year age filter, a 15-year ownership filter. I still want the 30% equity at least, $30,000 of equity at least. I still want single family. So on my owner occs, I want to make sure that they're 45 or older, 15 years or longer. And I like those two filters right at the moment. And I know I've talked about this a lot, so hope this helps. Question number 4. If I were to wholetail a property that has an unpermitted illegal addition, would it affect the resale price of the property? Only if you're allowing it to add value. So if you're saying I have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, but you really only have a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house because the bedroom and the bath really they're not permitted, so there's no value that appraiser can give to that. It could be non-conforming use. It could be all kinds of stuff. So if you're not creating or adding value, I haven't seen it to be a big issue. I just sold a house that had a garage that was enclosed, so they took the garage door down, kind of thing. So it's obviously not a garage, and converted it into a bedroom. We were wondering all the way through resell if that was going to have to be taken back to the original condition, but it didn't. It went through appraisal and everybody signed off on it, so it didn't harm us. But we weren't adding square footage, so we weren't saying it's 1,600 square foot house when it was really only a 1,200 square foot house. Keep in mind, garages don't add square footage to a house, and so it was able to be appraised for what we were selling it for. And I did one house where it was unpermitted, and it did actually increase the value. So, and it was really a nice addition, but it was non-permitted. So we actually had to hire an engineer who went out, and with their magical eyeballs, they saw through the concrete to see that there was reinforcement there and the tie downs were there. They did have us open up small patches in the sheetrock or the plaster in the inside where the headers connected to the king studs, and that's just framing verbiage for the big piece of wood that goes over the windows and the doorways. So they had us open up that corner to make sure that there was a cripple and a king stud, and how that was tied off, and make sure that the header was the appropriate size header. And it was a nominal construction issue. And once an engineer signs off on it, then it's permitted. Then you can go down and get a permit, and there's no reinspection fee because the engineer said it was what it was. And it's pretty simple. We got the added additional square footage inside of our resale value, so it worked out really well. So sometimes you have to do that. I have yet to ever have to tear something down. So, it was a non-permit addition, and I have yet to have to remove it. So just know that, and I've done a lot of houses, so hope that helps there. Question number 5. What kind of cost would be considered when negotiating a purchase price where there is an illegal addition on a property? Again, we're not going to add value. So it's not a negative yet because we're not adding a positive to it. And again, I haven't seen any properties that I had to remove the addition. So keep in mind, unless it's something that's just a really bad eyesore, there's not going to be a negative cost there. And I saying it again, I have yet to remove an addition that's not permitted. I think maybe there was a garage that they framed the front, they pulled the garage door up into the attic space, and it was just a 7-foot ceiling. And I think we had to take the ceiling down once and put the garage door back down to make it a garage. But that was pretty minor. I mean, that was nothing, because garages they're not cherried out anyway, meaning they're not sheetrocked except for the lid, because the lid has to be 5/8 type X sheetrock for fire damage issues or fire control issues. And that party wall between the house and the garage has to be 5/8 sheetrock type X. You have to have the 2-hour fire door on the door that goes into the house. But other than that, which has to be a solid core door and rated for that. So you have to make sure you get a fire door for the garage. And then you have to have the bomber hinge. The bomber hinge is the thing that closes the door. But other than that, they're pretty simple. I mean, I wouldn't beat myself up too much. But again, I'm not placing value on it. I'm not adding the square footage. I'm not using it to determine a better price on my structure. It's just a bonus. That's all it is, a bonus. And look at it that way. Great questions, guys. Really, really good questions today. I appreciate it. Hey, and thank you for letting me have a personal moment with Natalie on podcast number 198. I know that I'll do that in the future if I find that point where I actually need to talk to somebody and talk about my feelings, and I hope that is okay with you guys, because I'm going to do it anyway. If someone doesn't like it, I'm sorry. The name of the show is Michael Quarles Real Estate Show, so I got to say what's on my heart, and sometimes it just comes out that way. And yeah, it didn't have a lot to do with real estate that day, but it sure did have a lot to do with my day that day. So I hope you appreciate that. If you at all are thinking about getting into coaching, look at my coaching program. It is changing a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit more cost effective for folks to get into. And I think we're making it better in that change as well. The JV program, the JV Platinum membership is just going to be awesome. Awesome. And I'm here for you guys. If you have any more questions, please send them in to support@michaelquarles.com. And until tomorrow, you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Get more info and stay in touch at michaelquarles.com.